Frank Bonada here for LowKickMMA. With me today is Oban Elliott, who is set to take on Matt Bonner this weekend at Cage Warriors 142. How's it going, mate?
Very good, mate. Couple of
Brilliant.
days away.
Yeah, it really has sort of come out of nowhere. This whole fight it's a short notice booking, I believe. How did it sort of come about? How did it come to you?
I was trying to get a fight for 8 weeks, and I kept getting people like sign the contract, pull out of the fight, and then sign the contract, pull out the fight, and it was two or three guys that happened with, and people just flat out saying no as well. So I got my hopes up for a couple of days, and then they say no. So it was just, that happened a few times, and then, it was looking pretty bleak. And then, last Tuesday, I got the call off Shaky. And they tried, but he initially tried talking me into it, and I said yes straight away.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sort of opponent that Matt is, considering former champ status, he's sort of trying to go on his own title run now. Yeah, what do you make of him? And when you first saw that name as well, what was your initial sort of reaction?
Well, the initial reaction when they first told me the name, yes. He's he is what he is, and he's a former middleweight champion, as you said. I really am struggling to read into any of that, because to me he's a 6 foot odd man with 2 arms and 2 legs that I'm just going to be locked in a cage with. And I've fought big boys. I fought boys since I was 18, 19 with 10 years older than me, triple my fights, hundreds of rankings above me in the rankings. That means fucking anything. To anybody to think that this is some like a big deal to me, this really isn't. This is just me against another man. If you walked in my gym, I wouldn't fucking flinch. So he's a good fighter, and he's had out God knows how many fights, and he's had more fights than me, and he's a couple of years older than me, and let's go. Who gives a fuck? That's literally my stance on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, one added sort of caveat to this fight, you're going to have everyone in the audience backing you. How much of a sort of factor do you think that's going to play?
Yeah, that'd be nice, but I mean, I don't know if I don't know what vibe you're getting off me in terms of like we're going to be locked in the cage, whether we were locked in the garden, or locked in a car park, or locked in a bedroom like I am now. We get in there and you have a fight with another man, and that's it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I only asked because you see...
No, I know that. I'm not trying to shut you down there, but I am. These days, I think I'm becoming more difficult to interview, because I think I feel like that anyway. I don't know, because you get all these people just talking fucking nonsense about this and this, and they're breaking down the division and how they're going to beat the other man, and what the game plans and jiu-jitsu rankings, and how many, who cares? It's a fight. It's literally anything can happen on that night. No, nothing in the past matters. Nothing in the future matters. It's a fight on the night, on Saturday, and I've got a fight on Saturday, and that is it. That is it.
No, I get that. I was just saying, because like if you look at, say, like UFC London, that sort of audience, you feel like it definitely had some sort of impact on the guys like Paddy.
Look, don't get me wrong. Of course, it's going to be like if I fight in London, or I fought, all over the UK at this point now. It's a good buzz fighting in front of a crowd, especially like when pretty much all that crowd is going to be there for me. That's going to be big. That's going to be cool. Like that's going to be a nice moment to enjoy when I'm in it. But I'm really not thinking about that right now.
Fair enough. You said you sort of had like multiple offers and names being turned down and whatnot. even though this fight is on short notice, have you essentially been in camp this whole time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've basically been I've been training hard all year. What we in August now? I can't believe we're in August. I was in camp for the start of the year for the London card. Then they were going to put me on the Manchester one, and I was just carrying a couple of injuries. I really couldn't. And for me not to, be able to in a position to say yes to a fight, I've got to be in pretty banged up. And I was ashamed. But then I got it back in there in May, and now I've got a fight that's a nice tasty fight now on Saturday. That's what it is.
100%. I suppose considering what we've spoken about already, you're probably not looking past Matt. But are there any sort of like next steps for you in an ideal world? Is it sort of title shot, or I don't know, a big name fight for you, or contender series, UFC?
I can see by the look on your face, you probably know what I'm going to say. But I could be like, I could sit here and break the division down for you. I literally couldn't give a bollocks about the division. I couldn't care about any, like, I'm one step at a time kind of guy. I've been pushed to the mountains since I signed my first contract. I've been pushed to some invincible thing since I turned professional, and they're gonna get me to the UFC. Why? And for me, like, I've grown up in that. Like, say for example, Matt wasn't in that environment when he turned pro. He's built himself up. He's got himself where he is now. And for me, I never had the luxury of building myself up. As you can see, I'm 24 years old. This is my 8th professional fight, and I'm fighting a former world champion. Name another 24-year-old with 7 fights who's doing that. You won't get one. You won't get a 24-year-old with the balls to take a fight like this. So for me, it's one step at a time. I've got my challenge. I'm not comparing myself or looking past him or looking or of course I've got my goals for the future, but they go through Matt Bonner like a freight train, like a bullet. They go through him like a missile. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm at with it.
Brilliant. Well, you say no one's done anything, had this rise like you. One guy who kind of comes to mind is a teammate of yours, Jack Shaw.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, what I'm saying is you will find.
Yeah.
You can't just pluck one out. It's a bit of a rare thing. But
no,
yeah,
100%.
Jack Shaw, exactly. Yeah, you bit nail on the head there.
I'm sort of Jack maybe being at the center head of it, but Welsh MMA in general right now is really on a great rise. We saw on Saturday night Corey McKenna getting that Von Flue choke which was first one in women's MMA history. Yeah. I mean, what do you think about just the state of Welsh MMA in general right now?
It's a good place, and if you were speaking to me maybe this time last year or 2 years ago, I'd have a lot more of my energy will be devoted to that, and I am very I like to say I'm playing a tiny little part in that. But look what we've the people who've come before me are doing is brilliant, and it's great to be a part of that. But for me, and Saturday, as far as Saturday is concerned, I'm just gonna try and go through them and just go through them like a hot knife through butter. That's where my mindset's at. Like I'm not gonna be welcoming all these handshakes because I've got and who cares? Like I definitely don't. I've got a mission here, like an assassin. That's it. I'm trying to just give you a bit of perspective here.
Yeah. No, fair enough. All right then. Looking at the actual fight with Matt, how do you actually see it playing out? Then, have you had time to do tape study on him at all, or is it all just sort of focusing on yourself for this, if you can call it a camp, because it's been so?
Well, yeah, it's not like I got to sit there and prepare solely for him, and I need weeks to look at his habits and his things, and how am I going to beat him?
Yeah,
by any means necessary. That's how.
Fair enough. Do you watch MMA outside of your own sort of like, I suppose, circle? Because you do get a lot of guys who, yeah, the one that springs to mind is Derek Lewis, who just has zero interest in mixed martial arts
I
outside
guess
himself.
I tell you what, right? I probably used to be a bit of a nerd and break my fights down and say how this is going to work because I'm good here and he's not good here, and if you watch this fight he was in, he's got a tendency to do this, and you know, maybe a couple of years ago I was like that, but I think I'm more like Derek Lewis now. I've got to be honest. I'm like, I do my thing. I train as hard as I physically can, as smart as I can, with the best coaches I can find, and with the right support system around me. I've got no yes men, no bullshit. And I am putting one foot in front of the other and making sure I fulfill my potential. And if I'm gonna watch the UFC, I'll probably look at it and be like, you know, where am I stacking up against these boys yet? Am I ready for that yet? Yeah, perhaps I am. Oh, that was good. Probably going to work on that. But I'm not going to fanboy it over it anymore. Because of course, I'm a fan of like the spectacular fighters, and I enjoy watching it. But I'm not like I'm gonna sit down and get a pizza, and you know, maybe I will with the boys, but I'm not. There's other things to watch as well as MMA, you know. I like boxing, but yeah.
Fair enough. You mentioned before your long-term goals, even though they're going straight through Matt Bonner like a missile, like you said.
That's a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a good one.
That just came to me.
That's the headline of this interview.
If you want, yeah.
What are some of those long-term goals?
I'm just be the best fighter I can possibly be, and with my abilities, my physical attributes, my mental attributes, just be the best fighter and the best man I can be. And I think I can get pretty far. I think I can get pretty far if I just put one foot in front of the other and knock these boys off. I've had 2 defeats early in my career, and they say you're not a fighter until you lose one and fight again. And I've had to bounce back twice, and I've had to do, you know, the hard yards already. I'm fighting good boys. I'm learning my lessons. I'm lucky I can learn from my defeats and my setbacks in the way that I have. So I'm confident. I'm building up like a strong case to keep pushing and keep progressing, and I think I'm gonna show what I can do on Saturday, 100%.
You strike me as someone who sort of thinks about the immediate rather than the future or what maybe they leave behind. But what's the sort of mindset towards legacy and whatnot? Because I spoke with Matt recently, actually, and he was talking about how he wants to leave behind a legacy of a double belt or double champion in Cage Warriors and go on to the UFC. What's your sort of thought process towards that?
Towards his legacy or mine?
Towards your own, yeah, towards leaving behind the legacy in the sport.
Just that anyone, anywhere, anytime attitude, and showing that you either bottle it in this sport or you seize the moment. And I'm going to be someone who seizes the moment and takes every opportunity that's given to him. And I couldn't give a fuck about the Cage Warriors title right now. I couldn't care less about the UFC right now. Not that I'm putting all my eggs in one basket and that life ends after this fight kind of thing. I'm going to get through today first. Then I'm going to get through Tuesday, going to get through Wednesday, and then I'm going to get through Thursday. I'm going to get the weight cut out of the way, and then I'm going to get through to the fight. And my legacy, look, I've told you I want to be the best fighter I can be, and I think I could be one of the best in the world. Whether I'm going to pick up a lot of belts along the way, that'd be nice. That probably will happen, and that's what I'm going for. But like, as I said, I'm a 24-year-old man, and I'm still learning my craft. But it's pretty good so far. So
100%. That's all I've got for you today, Oban. That was
Right,
a cracking interview.
was it?
Yeah, I love it when fighters give some pushback towards
What
the
do you
sort
mean?
of
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
the cut and run. You know what I mean? There's some fighters I feel like go into like a interview mode, whereas I feel like you're engaging with the questions and making sure your own opinion's being put across.
No, I'm not just talking. I'm not just waffling and a load of bollocks about things. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, 100%.
He's a tough man, but I'm tougher. He's a big man, but I'm bigger. You know what I mean? He's a big former champ, whatever you want to call him, right? But he's going to be locked in there with me on Saturday, right? He's going to have a fight with his life on his hands. Simple. It's not rocket science. It's cage fighting. All the best to him. He can think I'm the easiest little pick 'em, walk over fight all he wants. He's going to be locked in there with me on Saturday. And, you know, then we'll see what's what. Simple.
Brilliant. Well, to anyone watching, you can catch this fight this weekend, Saturday, taking place in Ebbw, Vale, Wales.
I see Ebbw, Vale,
yeah. In front of a home crowd for Oban. If you want to sort of plug any, social media responses, go for it, man.
I'm just gonna plug I just want to thank, just shout out my coaches: Carl Parker, Richard Shaw, Alex Hughes, Heem, the Thai coach, Dale Hines, who does my strength and conditioning. I hate doing this because I forget people. My girlfriend Tegan, my family, my mother, Dale Louise, my friends Liam. People are going to be annoyed. You know what I mean? My sponsors, I'm not going to even attempt to read them all off. They're going to be all over a nice design Weekend Offender t-shirt on Saturday that will probably, due to the demand, I might start pushing a few myself. So I don't know. There it is.
Awesome.
There it is.
Best of luck this weekend, mate.
Cheers, brother.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.